Welcome to a little segment I like to call Bumps and Bends. Hey guys, welcome to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the full course version for the Formula Sprint, fixed setup in the USF 2000. I have never really liked this track, but I'm really enjoying the challenge of getting my head around it and also being in the same session as someone in the top 10 with the world results so far, Rowan Gill, who smashed his laps out of the park. So I started off using my own theories and was quite happy to get into the 24s straight away. I spectated a race earlier and the two leaders were happily in the 23s, and the guy who won it was just cruising around in the 24s. P1 and 2 ended up crashing out. So I think his name's Casey Evans. Well done, mate. Nice freebie on the last lap. And he got the victory. So I was plugging away, got myself down to a low 24. And then I went away, made a coffee. And then I watched Rowan's lap and how he approached the track with a 1:22.7. That was his first qualifying lap. 5,000 I rating. So to be within half a second of his time, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's have a look at the lap and then we'll go through corner by corner. It's really good setup. I've got my brake bias to 54.9. It's a little bit loose, but something that over time you get confidence with. And yes, thoroughly enjoying this track. Let's do a lap at full speed. So sometimes going to 5th, sometimes 4th. Really attack this corner. Try and hit that inside curb. Just touch it. Your focus is on exit and not understeering too much. Really want to throw it in here. Throw as much speed as you can. You can catch it, but you won't lose too much time there. Once again, your focus is on exit. This is just a drag strip. Stretch your gears out. Don't hit the limiter. And this middle section is very much about corner preparation. Brake late. Straight down to 3rd. Really hold it in. Get out a little bit, and then down to 2nd. Tuck it right in over the crest. Very loose. And then really want to eat that inside ripple strip. It really sets up the next couple of corners. Flat stick. Try and get nice straight braking and throw it in towards the inner strip. More looseness. And then another drag strip. So go out wide and really cut. Once again, inside ripple strip. Eat as much as you can. And this is really about braking balance. You don't want to go too much, just like I did there. And then onto the finish line. So as you can see, it's quite loose, but in me losing the rear end just slightly there wasn't affecting my times too much. If you're too aggressive with this car, it's either going to spin or you're just going to see your deltas go to dark red. So let's have a look at a lap in slow motion. So coming up to turn 1, you really want to just maximize your speed through this corner, throw it in, and aiming for, just see the way that inside ripple strip curves up a little bit. You can just touch the inside tyre with that too much, and you'll actually hit the start of the ripple strip, which will throw the front end up and put you very wide. There's only a tap of brake, just a tap of brake. The pros probably aren't braking at all. They're just throwing it in. But it's a 4th gear corner. Just tap it right in, but your focus is on getting full throttle as early as possible without running too wide. You find that you won't necessarily get an X if you just touch this dirt bit, but it will sort of hold your momentum a little bit, your acceleration, so you're going to lose time. So you can use a ripple strip, but just try not to be too excessive. Now at this point, you're just setting up the hairpin up here. It's an uphill hairpin, so you can brake a lot later, but it drops off straight away after the uphill section. So I'm just doing my braking as late as possible, but my focus is on, it's a very deceiving corner. My focus is on throwing most of my braking at this section here. So I'm trying as hard as I can not to do all of my braking too early. If you throw it in, you'll find that you'll see a much greener delta just by throwing it in a little bit too much, and you're going to end up wide and too little. And yeah, you're just going to have a lot of tapping the throttle motions, waiting for the corner to come. Treat it like 2, even 3 corners rather than one big hairpin. So I've really got the arse end out here, but I'm focusing on getting my throttle out here as close to the ripple strip as possible. As soon as you start going off this new concrete area, new asphalt area, sorry, it's going to end you a little bit wide on exit, and you're either going to go on the dirt or you're going to have to lift to make the corner. So really try and point the car inwards, really just point it right inwards, and have this as your exit point as opposed to earlier. So once you're on full throttle, you got yourself a drag strip. Try not to take too much track. Try not to hit the cones on the inside. But yeah, straight line the corner. Now I had my brake bias a little bit further back, and I found trying to brake late, got the rear end a little bit loose over this middle section with a lot of undulations. So I'm braking in between the 300 and the 200. Closer to the 300 marker. But you don't want to get the rear unsettled here. You really want to focus on front end grip and really just bring it in, and try and get on that throttle as early as possible to bring the car back out to set the following corner up. Like I said earlier, it's very much about corner preparation. If you muck up one corner, you'll find that you're losing time in the following 3 corners. And it's very, very, very hard to make that back up. So try and be nice and smooth and calm. Try not to be too aggressive, especially over these peaks, because you're going to lose traction. So really tuck it in, second gear, be very patient with the throttle here. It's very loose, over the crest, and then just bring it out into third, and then just a tap of the brake to bring it in. If you find you go a little bit wide, you're going to lose a lot of time. So really cut it in and aim for the inside ripple strip. What you're doing here is you're preparing for the following section. It doesn't matter if it throws you wide, the car's still pointing in that direction. This corner here is very much a straight line. You're preparing for the following section. So really just straight line it. You'll see this bush here, looking from the cockpit view. Just over here is what you're aiming for. So you really just want to get the car over here. Okay, sorry, I was a little bit to the right. But just practice the laps. The track doesn't change its location. The corners are always in the same spot. And you're just a flat out drag strip, straight lining those last 2 corners. And your focus here is on car balance on braking. I found just straightening the wheel a little bit, just a tiny little bit, under braking will unsettle the car a lot less for the following corner. This is a next corner is a very, very hard one to get right, and you just need confidence over the crest to get onto full throttle as early as possible. So once you've done that straight braking, throw it in straight away and just try and get as close to this ripple strip as possible. Very understeery, very easy to go wide, and trying to get onto full throttle as early as possible and just maximize your acceleration for this section of the track. So coming up to the final section of the circuit, it's all about greed and how much track you want to take up. Try and get as close to the wall here as possible. And what you're doing is opening up the next corner, which is the left-hand sweeper effectively, and also blind. So just knowing where that ripple strip is and using your inside front tire to really aim over the ripple strip. It's slightly bumpy and it will send you a little bit wide, but not too much where you can gather it up. So you're just maximizing full acceleration. Even though it's wide, you've got enough time to gather it up to the final section of the track. I went a lot wider than I'd personally like to, but this is my best lap time and I was able to gather it up. Now, just try not to be too aggressive on the downshifts. Oh, you little. Mate, you hate that. Session finished. Alright. Where were we? There we go. So try not to be too aggressive on the downshifts. So I'm going from fourth into third, waiting a little bit, and then second. I found if I was going down to second too early, it was unsettling the rear over the crest here, and you spent a large portion of the following corner gathering it up. But if you're nice and smooth with your downshifts, and then second, and you can go wide here, what you're doing is trying to get on the throttle as early as possible. I've probably gone a little bit too wide. There's a lot more grip at this part of the track, but I was still able to gather it up. And the final two corners, treat like two sweepers, just pin it, absolutely pin it. You can go right over here, full throttle. And if you go, what I'm finding, if you go a little bit wider here, you can get on the throttle a little bit earlier. So pointing the car and then full throttle as soon as you become full stable, and you'll get another half to a full tenth. Nice and wide on exit, and that's a 123.728. But as you can see, it's very playful. You can have a lot of fun with this car at this track with this setup. So yeah, participation's gone down a little bit again this week. Feel free to come and join us. A lot of people do have Mid-Ohio but avoid it, which I have previously. But I'm very much enjoying the challenge of getting my head around the car track combo and bringing those times down. So hopefully I'll see you on track. Thanks again to everyone who subscribed. If you haven't, click on that link below. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Down if you didn't. Come and check me out on Twitch on the weekends, and I'll see you there. Bye.